Y'all, we're back. We didn't do a show this morning. Um, I see some folks were worried about if they missed out or anything. You didn't miss out. D, I'm getting feedback from you. But we are here nevertheless. Uh, D, how's your Saturday going? I know they were vacuuming here downstairs, so we're still at the hotel. So, um, hope everything is everything. Y'all, where I see some people are cold. It's okay. We've been cold all weekend. Well, all week. It's been snowing here all week, off and on. But the sun was out yesterday. So, D, how are you this morning? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I have to
Oh, okay.
concentrate because it's super low.
What'd you say now?
It's low. My volume is low.
Oh, okay. Put your headphones on. Oh, because I was getting feedback. Anyway, shout out to everybody that's been rocking with us. Mallory, what's going on? Just Jay, how you doing? Ricky O, E, what's going on? Miss Phoenix, I see y'all freezing out there. Jimmy or Jimnell one, how you doing? Afternoon. I'm used to saying good morning. Intentional millionaire, how you doing? What's going on with you? All right, and Russ and Donald Watson, EJ NYC. We got so much to cover. You know, when I miss a week, it's a lot. So really, I miss like 3 sessions. So I'll be having a lot. And as you can see, people walking back and forth on downstairs in the lobby. So I got a lot to cover. So if you get noise in the background, please forgive me for that. You know, it's just the background noise. But let's get started, and then I'll roll over into what we got to talk about today. Is so much from stocks to um, equity funds to um, jobs, and I want to be technical today, but I don't know how long everybody's gonna last today. I don't know how long D gonna last today. We're gonna see how long you gonna last today. D, can you do 2 hours? Can you do three? Can you do three? I know you hear me, D. You're just acting silent. I know your eyes is moving. I know you hear me. See, this
Just
one,
gonna
D.
get through
This
the show. That's it. Just gotta get through the show.
you see how D do. All right, so
What you mean? I mean, hey,
I asked the question: do you have 3 hours in you? Do you have it in you, my G? My G, do you have it in you? Silence is agreement. All right, so let's get started. Is my screen shared? That's all right, screen shared. D, thank you. All right, welcome to Women in Linux. We are Women in Linux. You can find us across social media at Women in Linux. I don't even know where D is at on the screen. Hold on, I'm Tam. That's D. I got to jump back and forth because I don't have no dual monitor, so it's kind of awkward for me right now. Um, and you could also connect with us on LinkedIn. We also started uh um, what is it? I forget the daggone room, that Clubhouse. Clubhouse. We started a Clubhouse to talk. You can find us at Women in Linux on Clubhouse. I think I made it invite only right now. I may open it up. Um, I wanted to keep it to our group for right now. So just an alternative way for those that don't like to come up on YouTube. You can come up on Women in Linux at Clubhouse. I'm also getting ready to work out. Well, we did work on our Patreon, but I need to roll out. I need to put some other things in place. So get ready to see that as well. Um, what other announcements can I think of? We had our meetup Wednesday at 8 o'clock. So those that have missed out on the meetup, sorry about that, but we did do a meetup Wednesday at 8. They seemed to be okay. For the We actually almost went 3 hours, but we ended up doing 2.5. That meetup has been posted as well too. So that's just the updates that I have just off the top of my head. If you want to connect with us, you can hit connect, drops you down into our Slack group. We're in our Slack group is if you're already a part of our Slack group, you know I post everything about jobs. I post everything about conferences, gaming. We got a channel in there for called Creating Wealth. We talk about a little bit of everything on that channel. Well, not on that channel, but in our Slack group in a totality. And if you want to donate with us, donate with your time. You don't necessarily have to be money. You may want to come on the show and talk about something that you learned this week or something that you've done and so forth. Or you may just like, I don't want to do any of that. I just rather toss you some change and keep it pushing. All proceeds go to us. PayPal does not get anything off of that. All right. So let's see. D, how you doing today? You didn't answer. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm amazing. I'm chilly sitting by this window, but
Turn the heat on.
it's going to make a rumbling noise and it's going to be blowing cold air first and then something else. So I do have a heating pad somewhere, but the plugs and all that stuff is a little different. So I'm
Oh yeah.
good. I'm good. I'm surviving Colorado. I think I'm doing quite well. Um, I'm doing
So,
good to be a tropical person. It's a good day. It's a sunny day. Been outside. I've had my coffee. I've had some grapefruit. Um, a
it's
lot of
still
good
snow on
stuff.
the ground out here.
The snow
But
it's sticking. However, it's been cool. It's been a week in Colorado. Just trying to manage that, find you a place, and all that other good stuff. So I mean, we're here. We got a different background. If for those that didn't realize it, we are in a hotel. Um, and so it's good. You hadn't racked my nerves totally yet, but you are
damn,
tap dancing on them.
damn, I gotta do better.
I know you're gonna be river dancing on them when you get back up in this room.
Damn,
Um,
gotta do better.
but other than that, I mean, we got a 2 hour, yeah, 2 hour time difference. Um, it's Black Ski Week next week. You know, it's a lot of little things that are on the table. I'm cool. So
Let me
I
river
mean, I
dance
can't
on your.
complain. I'm just trying to,
Let me river
get in
dance
my
on your
light,
nerves.
make sure the background is great, work out like you tell me to go with the flow. Cause you say I don't go with the flow, but I think I'm a very good go with the flower.
That's my nonverbal communication, like you was giving me earlier.
But but whatever you can say, you cannot say I'm not a road warrior because we got up here, we rode in tandem up here. You can't say that. You tapped out on me, but it's okay. We made it.
I tapped out because I'm human. I tapped out because I am human. You must
Are
understand.
you?
We're
People
not.
don't believe that you're human though.
I am not built to stay up 30 hours driving. That is not. That is not my
But
goal.
technically, that is against the
In
law.
fact,
So I
it's
didn't
not
do
even
that.
in my job description. In fact, it's not even as one of my attributes.
It's against the law. You're only supposed to drive for 8 hours. So I don't know who rode straight for 30 hours. Whoever that is a robot, beast. And what'd you call that? What was the thing that was on the
How you point?
Terminator?
Pick a side. The person that's talking, named D, is the one that drove 30 hours straight.
I didn't. I got altitude sickness. Uh,
She said she saw
exactly. I
something.
repeat, what happened to Team No Sleep? No
It
Blink? What happened?
team
I was counting on
team no
Team No
sleep
Sleep,
has
No Blink,
naps.
and
Team no sleep has naps.
didn't make it. Team
Literally,
No Sleep, No Blink didn't make it. Did not make it.
I take
Team
naps.
B over here. Yeah, so we made it. We've been here. It's been interesting. We had a little snowstorm. We've had some it's about 50 something degrees here today. I mean, it's been
Miss
pretty
Phoenix, I
cool.
want to shout out Miss Phoenix for 91 for being a trader.
I can't have no people. People can't show D no love.
Trader.
Ain't no love for the D. That's a shame. So it's been cool. It's definitely been cool. We had a great dinner last night. We
Oh,
went
it's good.
outside amongst the people. It was super great. You know, whenever we get to a new place, Tam has to have a steak. So
I think they
I
making
ate some
noise
meat
on
yesterday.
purpose.
I had some lamb, some Colorado lamb, which was pretty tasty. So it's been cool. It's I can't complain. I can't complain. I thought I would. I'm gonna miss a friend of mine. I'm gonna miss her wedding, but I have to make that up to her some other way. But other than that, I'm cool. How you doing?
Oh, cool. It's been
Are you?
interesting. hmm Here's some fun facts for you. I think I sent this over to you. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up.
Am I
Um,
sharing the screen?
no, don't share it yet. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm gonna just read it off.
Oh, and it's a 2 hour time difference, and so I still haven't caught up. I got altitude sickness around Kansas, and so Scooby Doo was dancing on my windshield. I
Just
thought I
because
was
you needed some
delirious,
sleep.
but huh?
Just because you needed some sleep.
I needed what?
You needed some sleep.
I thought I was delirious, and it was between like Scooby Doo and this dragon like outline dancing on my windshield. But we were like 3 hours in, so I was like, thug, we're gonna thug this out. Did not happen for me like that. Tam was straggling, so I had to make sure, that I didn't lose her in the
Oh,
mountains.
you just putting 20 on a 10.
But
Oh,
that next,
Tam was
what I found
straggling.
out from one of her colleagues is that the symptoms that I was having was altitude sickness. And everybody's like, what's altitude sickness? Well, you would think you would get altitude sickness in a plane, but a plane is pressurized. But as you climb up altitude, so we went from Florida straight to the mountains, and you're supposed to like wait a day in between as you climb to give your body a chance to adjust. Well, we
No,
didn't
you were
do
supposed to
that.
go outside and walk. That's what
Well, I
you.
mean, we took several thousand bathroom and gas breaks because, believe it or not, empty for Tamika is a half a tank of gas. So as soon as you get into the ride, she's like, "We need gas." It's a half a tank of
She
gas in
don't, but
there.
she, this what she don't understand. So we drove a minivan that, and we drove the Range Rover, right? What she don't understand, the Range Rover, even in economy mode, sucks up gas. So when she thinks she getting into it and the gas stations are few and far between, I'm like, no. We need some gas because I don't know when we're gonna see that again. And it ain't cool to be driving at night on the side of the road in
We were on the
between.
main highway. It was
I'm just saying,
pilots and love stations everywhere. But
but they were few and
Kansas
far
might
between.
be flat, but it's flat higher up altitude wise. And wherever we was at, area 51 or 58 or wherever we was at, I started feeling the altitude in Kansas is what I'm trying to say is when I started getting delirious.
But I must
So
admit, the drive from the to see the, and I should have took a picture of it and I didn't get a chance to see the windmill farms. That was pretty damn dope. I should have took a picture of it because then I started looking and I was analyzing the windmills like, okay, so I guess you got to get somebody up there to inspect them. How do you inspect them? Is it at the base? Where is that at? How do they get, how did they get brought in and then stood up? How did that work? uh we also ended up passing like airplane parts, like we saw big airplane parts, missiles.
we saw a lot of suspect stuff on the highway on the back of these 18 wheelers. Like Did you see that? But what Tam doesn't realize is when everything that Tam drives, it is a souped up. So it's not like it's a regular Range Rover. It's an SVR with like three type of
Carbon.
modes. So she had to drive it in economy mode so it can be kind of be regular so it wouldn't drink up all the gas. I'm in a
And that actually
passenger
slows it
cargo
down.
van, and so it don't even go past 100. So for her to be way behind me, she just couldn't make it. But Afri P, like we were in Florida, so you start climbing up soon as you on your way to Georgia. So my ears, my I can tell when the pressure is changing because I have sinus stuff. So my ears were popping. So as we're climbing, we're going through Georgia, we're going through Alabama, we're going through
And we got lost.
Mississippi,
We
the
lost
way
each other
that
for
we were
an hour.
driving. So we were just, you go from the bottom all the way to the top. You just climbing. But
And
it's
we got
the snow-capped
and we
mountains have been
lost
beautiful.
each other for an hour because I stopped in Arkansas to see a friend of mine. I hadn't seen her in
We
14
didn't lose each
years.
other. She stopped.
N- No, I mean after I got back on the road and we caught back up, we still lost each other because you was like I'm in the middle and I'm like, come to find out you were like 40 minutes ahead of me.
No, we didn't move. Tam is I live in Florida. I'm going back to Florida.
Don't know
You
why.
know.
The Range Rover takes about as much gas to me as any other car that I've had. But again, um, it's just when you get on the open road and you're riding and whatnot, um, you do your thing. But we didn't see a lot of cops either. Wasn't a lot
And
of
when we
cops.
did, they were in the opposite direction. And Tam said I was going about 120. But
She was doing about 120.
the van does not go past 100.
Let
It
me
does
tell
not.
you,
And I have
let,
pushed it. And she said she's been 120 in the van. And this van is our company van. And she said she's been 120. And she couldn't possibly, because it doesn't go over 100. The van don't go
let's
over 100.
let's do. Let me tell you, I had my sister on the phone. I turned the phone around, and I was like, "I'm doing 96. I'm doing 96."
But she
I
was
had
way back. She had was lagging. So her 96 was trying to catch up to my 85. Because by that time I was, like I said, I was trying to check on Scooby Doo and I was blinking and I was, giving myself pep talks because I thought I was going down.
you was
Couldn't do
going
it.
down.
So
Anyway, so here's some fun facts about the area I am in. Um, I wanted to know what the current population was, and sorry, there's people walking in the door. The current population of Longmont in regards to African American. Total population of African American as of 2019 was 815. Male population 490, female population 325. So that just gives you an idea of what's out here. Um, Most houses, well, from what I've seen, most houses start around about 500. Is there a lot of wealth out here? Yeah. Um, a lot of the homes that I went and looked at, just driving around, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 10 million. 815, Miss Phoenix. 815. Let
it's
you
it's
know.
it's a lot of land out here. It's
A
very
lot of money.
picturesque. It is amazing. Riding through here reminds me of certain cities. Um, but it is expensive. I mean, it's definitely expensive. And if you move further out, because it's like it's kind of like the DMV area because it's Denver, Boulder, and then these other little cities, Longmont area. And so it's like this triangle, and everything is not as far as it looks on the map. It's maybe like 12 to 13 miles. Like we had dinner in Boulder yesterday and it wasn't far at all. Um, so it's definitely going to be an interesting place to explore.
Yep.
Um, but
Yeah.
it's
So,
it's it's plenty big tech companies out here.
Yeah, yeah, like when I talk about when I had that conversation about IBM, yeah, like IBM Drive, their whole
Their
entire
campus is
campus,
ginormous.
the whole entire campus. When we talk about going downtown Boulder, the bike routes, the apartments that we look at has spas for the puppies, indoor outdoor saltwater pool,
It's
um,
definitely an active place. Like their
very
lifestyle is
active,
very active.
very different. So when I talk about where people are making money and we're not in the place, I know we're not out here. 815. I know we're not out here.
No, no, no. Even the host at the
And I'm a
restaurant yesterday, she was just like, "So there's more black people in Aspen," and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, the lady that worked at the
and
thing,
we're
she's like,
like,
yeah,
"Aspen, gotta
yeah,
go
she's
up
like,
and see what's
it's
going on
more
in
black
Aspen."
people, yeah, more black people living in Aspen than it is here. So it just puts you into perspective of why, like, I'm sure there's plenty of black people in Denver, but when it comes down to this area and the money that is being pumped and the number of homes that are being built out here everywhere we went over in this location called Erie, Colorado, which I would never live. Um, it is nothing but homes going up there left and right. When we look at um, when I look at Broomfield, Fayetteville, just different areas, it's just a little different. This reminds me of um, Chantilly, Virginia, Auburn, Virginia, out anywhere money resides over on the Virginia side. That's what it looked like to me. Yeah, we're gonna go do some exploring. We'll probably ride down to Denver this evening. Just get out and see, like, what's up, what's going on, what's popping. You
It
know,
was a little icy when I went to the car this morning to grab some supplies out of the car, and I was like, "Ooh." So that's the only thing that kind of is shaky to me is like, is that wet spot ice out on the ground? So it was icy this morning. Um, but other than that, it's been okay. It's been like a big resort to say the least. The way the architecture is here. So it's been
yeah,
nice. It's been
intentional
nice so
millionaire. We
far. It
probably
might
won't
be different. And then next week it might be a whole nother story for me. But I've been doing
intentional.
good.
Turn your volume up some, D.
Oh, they can hear me. Oh,
Yeah,
it's too
yeah, so
loud.
you can hear me when I'm saying something. So I make sure I don't overtalk you.
I hear you.
Oh, okay. Intentional millionaire. We're gonna always drive. That we're not gonna do that. That ain't gonna stop. Um, but yeah, so far, yeah, it's been real, right? It's been one of them things. So let's get into it. I know why you all are here. We're here to drop information, share knowledge. Not only that, make sure that you have um, the knowledge that you need for the week. All right, so this is an old one. This came out in 2020, but I wanted to bring it up again because I think it's important that you know about it. So, um, McDonald's, this happened in 2020, like I said, and I'm gonna get into why this is part of the conversation. Launched a $500,000 scholarship fund to HBCU students, right? And this was back in 2020. Now, if you've been following along with what's been going on and why I mentioned the whole thing about McDonald's, then you would know about this as well. McDonald's um, has now reached the franchises are making more money than ever. Um, the average cash flow for a McDonald's has exceeded 500,000 per unit, an increase of 125,000 per year and let me blow that up some. And on top of that, McDonald's annual revenues has reached 23.2 billion due to higher prices and bigger orders. Then they go into McDonald's. Franchise restaurants have reached a record average cash flows amid soaring sales at the burger chain. It said on Thursday, cash flows for the U.S. franchises reached an average of more than 500,000. Um, this represents a growth of 50% over the past 3 years and a price increase of 125,000. Now, I don't know if you all ever looked into owning a McDonald's franchise. So I had that link, but I have to go search for it in my stuff. But I should put McDonald's. Do. And I know most people probably still don't eat McDonald's, but somebody eating McDonald's, right? Okay, so owning a McDonald's franchise, applicants must have a minimum of $500,000 available in liquid assets and pay a $45,000 franchise fee. Those looking to launch a McDonald's can expect to shell out 1.3 million and two, I guess between 2.3 million for that. So let's go here with the Investopedia. Got a little bit more information right here. Um, Existing franchise prices can cost upwards of $1 million or more, right? So then they break down McDonald's costs. Mallory, you had McDonald's yesterday. Let me see here. A new franchise. All right. Hopefully, yeah, it looks big enough on the screen here. In some cases, McDonald's approves the opening of a new franchises in regions where a company wishes to enter the market, which is also considered buying a franchise. Now, it's funny that we're talking about this morning, right? Let me go to this, and I'll share my thoughts on some stuff. So, some of the costs involve inventory, kitchen equipment, construction expenses, decor, and exterior landscaping, signage, hiring and training. New franchise owner must pay 40% of the total cost of building the restaurant up front, but can finance the remaining costs through various financial services firms that McDonald's have already established relationships with. Right. So growing up in high school, we had a young lady um, who she her dad owned, I think, 8 McDonald's by the time we had graduated from high school. And so he would like we would go to his McDonald's in the area, and he would always talk about franchising and what that would look like and so forth, right? But here's another little note about McDonald's. I don't know if you saw this. You can consider Elon Musk trolling if you want, but don't be surprised if something does take off and happen. He wants McDonald's to accept Dogecoin as a as a way to as a form of currency to buy from McDonald's. If that does take, because McDonald's is also looking to get into the NFT game as well too. So if that does take off, you don't be surprised. The price of Doge goes up, and also don't be again. I talked about the four places before, and I keep mentioning them again. The four places where JP Chase Morgan was looking to open up and place new wealth managers was California, Florida, and two places in Texas, which was Austin and Fort Worth, not Dallas, but Fort Worth, right? And those asset managers manage $10 million or more, right? So again, when we're looking at this, let's look at a totality of where they're going, right? So we need to be able to look and say, okay, well, if they're looking to put asset managers in those two locations, and McDonald's is now at 500,000, people are building more homes. People recognize the golden arches, right? So it went to me just random thoughts, buy some land, do a joint venture with someone, and go own a McDonald's, a steak in something. Like those are just some things that I think about when we're talking about increasing our wealth. And drop in the chat if you drop a one in the chat if you understand where I'm coming from. I just wanted to make sure I bring that up to everybody. All right, so let me go to my notes here and pull up our other stuff. Now I got 2 weeks worth, actually 3 shows worth of stuff. So I'm gonna try to make this uh you know fun. I don't want it to be too boring. All right, so let's play a game. Do you know who the richest black fund manager is? Do you know who the richest black fund manager is? And I won't hit enter. I'm gonna take some guesses first. Um, we take some guesses. Who's the richest black fund manager? And I brought this up before, um, but we'll see if you all have it. If you know it, just take it. Give me a name first. You gotta think about who owns a black fund, right? Right. So let's go ahead. Let me drop it. Yeah. Go look up McDonald's. Here's another thing. Ask yourself this, Miss Phoenix: is McDonald's a king or a aristocrat? Robert Smith is correct. Cisco. So here we go. Let me go look up McDonald's as a king. Let's hit enter on this one. Let's go. I think McDonald's may be an aristocrat. They may be a king. They may be a king. Let me see. Because there's some new ones. AT&T got knocked off this week. FYI, AT&T got knocked off the list this week. I think off the king list this week. I think that they got knocked off this week. Two new people went into the fund this week. Let me look and see. And then they may be aristocrat. Let me double check. And who remembers what a king is and what an aristocrat is? Who remembers what that is? Here it is right here. McDonald's. Right here. They're on the aristocrat list. And why are they on the aristocrat list? Remember, in order to, I'm gonna see if anybody remembers what the difference between an aristocrat and a king is. Um, See, these dividend aristocrats have upped their payments annually for decades. One out. All right, so who remembers what the difference between an aristocrat and a dividend? And a dividend and a king is? So, the aristocrat, you have to have uh, dividends increase consecutively over 25 years. McDonald's hasn't made it to a king yet, and you think about how long McDonald's been around for you, but McDonald's dividends hasn't increased over 50 years. They increased over 25 years straight. So that's why they're on the aristocrat list, right? So 25 years straight, right? So you got to remember that. Yep, 25 years, right? So just keep that in mind when you're looking at stocks that are paying dividends. You I would choose from this list that has already been proven, and then go look and see how much they're being traded for, and then go look and see how much their dividend is. I invested in ASML this year. Well, yeah, this year, and I got a dividend. I just bought one share because I just wanted to see how it performed. And that one share was able to pull back $4.19 on its dividend, but it has performed. When I had looked at it for a 5 year, remember in 3 years, it had a 2022% return on its investment, right? So keep that in mind when you're looking at uh, how things are performing. If you want to be something safe, really a ETF will probably be your safe. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm just giving you things that I do and have done that work. Again, investing in the ETF that may have a particular sector, like a tech sector that you may want to invest in, like SPY, or VOO, or VTI. But then there are also funds for Bitcoin. There are funds for, I should say, cryptocurrency. There are funds out there for that, and we're going to try to get into some of that today. All right. So let's go back to Robert Smith. Robert Smith is our wealthiest fund manager. I wanted to find out more about, after some conversations that we had, intentional millionaire, that we had, and I want to know more of black owned investment firms, because I wanted to find out how can we make investment into those companies as well too, right? So Robert Smith was one, but I'm going to pull up some other ones that I found, right? So black owned investment firms. We always talk about investing in Charles Schwab and all these other ones, but we never talk about the ones that we already have ourselves that we can make an investment into. This was published of July 14th of 2021. And what is an investment fund? An investment fund is a pool of capital that belongs to numerous different investors who have come together as part of a group in order to purchase securities, while each individual investor retains ownership and control of their own shares. Right. Um, but again, it and I'll pull this up, coming up in April. There's a conference in Vegas that I'm going to. I already bought my ticket, on how to create a fund. What is it like to get an investment fund? I'm actually going to do a one-on-one on with the particular, with a group of people, actually, to talk about building out a fund. What all needs to go into it? What are the stipulations and rules that we need to follow? How can we set this up for multiple things, not just real estate, but you may want to buy a group of businesses, right? So sometimes people find businesses and they buy businesses. Like some businesses, some people sell their business for $1,000 or $5,000, right? And then you look at it and analyze it before you purchase, of course, to see how you can grow that, to grow the money, right? That ROI, basically, on for that company, and then resell that company again later down the road, right? So putting, if you understand systems and processes, you may want to put systems and processes in place, in order to help grow that company. But these, again, this is not financial advice. These are just things that I want to throw out there. All right. So, some advantages that an investment fund, um, accords is investor is availability of investment managers who are well acquainted with risk management. I talked about the Series 65 before. What does that look like and what does that mean? And I should do, and just please keep on me, to go through these S1 filings and to talk about the Series 65, in detail. We need to do a show on that. So, um, let me remind me of that, because I'll forget and start going down a deep road of a whole bunch of other stuff that I need to talk about. All right. So economies of scale, benefits where investors benefit in terms of lower transaction fees and higher interest, increasing diversification of assets, investments in order to reduce risks involved, right? So there are different types of funds: open-ended fund, closed ended fund, and exchange traded fund, ETFs. We just I went over that a little bit, but and I mentioned some ETFs to invest in, like SPY, VOO, VTI. There's XLY, like they're covered call ETFs. There are just a various assortment of ETFs, and I have a whole list. I have a whole segment of ETFs coming up on this show today, so stay tuned. All right, I won't go into the definition, and the D can drop these links. I want to get to the name the names of the companies that we need to talk about here. All right, so Impact America Fund is a black owned investment firm, right? Gen N X360 Capital Partners, Authentic Ventures, Harlem Capital Partners, Bay Street Holdings, um, I guess you could say KIC or Kick Ventures, Precursor Ventures, the Bronze Venture Fund, Cross Culture Ventures, and Reach Capital. And then the largest black owned mutual fund is Ariel Investments, right? And so I wanted you all to have these names so you could go out and research these funds for yourselves, in terms of, what does each one, what does each one do, who's the head of these funds, how did these particular investment funds come, who they are, right, or what they are, and what do they invest in, right? So right here, the Gen X360 Capital Partners is a private equity firm that invests in companies within the industrial and business services space. The Authentic Ventures is a uh, venture capital firm that invests in early stage companies that are out to solve major problems. Right. We got Harlem Capital, is a venture capital firm that is focused on changing things up within the entrepreneurial space by investing in diverse founders. And then you also have, is what is Arlen's fund? Is Arlen fund, what is the name of her, Arlen Hamilton? What is the name of her fund? Arlen Hamilton fund. What's the name? Backstage Capital. So she is another one. She actually wrote a book. I actually got a chance to meet her in person at a conference. She was looking to guide. She's looking to get more people from the, also from a tech savvy place. Her story is very interesting. She was homeless at one point, and she started selling T-shirts out of her car. She got denied on a lot of things in Silicon Valley in terms of ideas and so forth and so on. So basically, to be honest with you, and in her words and not mine, she has a FU mentality, and she invests into us. So check out her site. She also has. It was also a point in time, and I don't know if that's still available or will that ever come back around, where you could have invested into Backstage Capital like $1,000 to invest in, and then they would you would then be a part of the whole entire investment of whatever companies that they choose to pick and so forth and so on, right? So I'm gonna drop this link in the back. I may be able to drop it in straight in here. Oh yeah, I could drop it straight in here. And I'll put Arlen Hamilton in here so you can check out Arlen Hamilton. She's another one that has funds. We've also had Kiana on a couple of weeks ago to talk about uh, uh, I think it's Tamar Capital. I think that's the name of it. For her, she was on. You can go back and check out that episode. I forget which episode it was. It was on Howie Lennox. I forget which episode that was. Where we talked about sometimes when we're talking about these IPOs, and this is another thing, when we're talking about these IPOs, sometimes you can approach, and I think y'all all heard about Nas this week investing into, or the last 2 weeks investing into a company, but sometimes sometimes these companies would take $1,000 investment or $5,000 investment or $10,000 investment, but again, you all know my magic number. Drop it in the chat what my magic number is so you can be an accredited investor, because you may have to come in from an accredited investor standpoint in order to do that, or be a part of a fund in order to do an investment into that particular company. I know you all know the number that I want everybody to be able to get to, right? So again, that's that conversation. 200K for the accredited investor. Again, that is individual. That is not as a for you as a as a as a husband and wife, or as a couple, right? So the accredited investor, Investopedia is the definition that makes the most sense to me to explain, so people can understand that. Here we go. When we're talking about accredited investors, include high net worth individuals, banks, insurance company, brokers, and trusts. Um, let's get down into the numbers. Where's the numbers at? Required for accredited investors right here to be in. Blow that up some. All right. To be an accredited investor, a person must have an annual income exceeding 200,000, 300,000 for joint income for the last 2 years, with the expectation of earning the same or higher income in the current year. An individual must have earned income above the thresholds, either alone or with a spouse, over the last 2 years. Right. The income test cannot be satisfied by showing 1 year of an individual's income, and then the next 2 years of the joint income with a spouse. So again, when this is just the income side, this is not you see down below the net worth side, the income side. That's why I'm kind of pushing everybody towards like the DevSecOps, the SRE, the cloud architect, and understanding that, because those jobs can run at the 200K in a salary, and depending on the project and depending on the company, you can be on a project that lasts 3 years, that where you have that income of 200K and up, provided that you, one, keep your skills up, two, you stay invested and understand where the market is moving. Right. Data engineering also pushes that number as well too. So what I try to do at Women in Linux is show you, okay, here's the skill sets you need to make this income. Now, once you make this income, how do you invest and move that money around, right? I don't know if y'all caught the episode with Max Maxwell and Grant Cardone. And one of the biggest things he said in this little clip, it's only like a 50-second clip. One of the biggest things he said, if you have a high income, make sure you're taking all that income and investing that income so you can, one, have money, create money, and then two, sometimes it's just tax shelter. So that IRA, that 401k, that Roth 401k, the SEP, I mean, the list goes on. You have to seek. This is not financial advice. Please seek a counselor or CPA, or maybe somebody in your family that does something well. But again, shout out to Intentional Millionaire. He's in the chat, so you can ask him questions as well too. Again, I'm just sharing information. So the next part of this is, a person is also considered an accredited investor if they have a net worth exceeding $1 million, either individually or joint with a spouse. So you may say you make 50,000 a year, but you invest a large portion of your income, and you bought a lot of real estate, or you bought a lot of businesses or what have you, and you exceed that $1 million. That's It's actually possible, depending on, I don't know everybody's story, but you could do it, right? All right. The SEC also considers a person to be an accredited investor if they are general partner, executive officer, or director for the company that is issuing unregistered securities, right? Unregistered securities. It says an entity is considered an accredited investor if it is a private business development company or organization with assets exceeding 5 million. Also, if an entity consists of equity owners who are accredited investors, the entity is an accredited investor. So you may go in business with somebody who's already an accredited investor, right? Right. So just I'm just throwing these things out so you can be cognizant of, you're not only beholden to your 401k inside of your company, but here's the other thing too. If you're putting away, so for 2022, it's 20,500. It's not 19,500 for your max out for under 50. Or is it under 55? Under 50. Am I right? Under 50 or under 55? I think it's under 50. For 2020. for 20,500 as your maximum investment, right, into your 401k. But there's also, uh, and I talked about this before, and you've seen this before. There's also a income limit on that on that 401k, not the Roth 401k, but just on the 401k of $305,000. What does that mean? That means that, say you make $330,000 and your company does a match, your company can only do a match up to the for 2022 up to the $305,000 mark of your income. So that means from that 305 to that 330, you're gonna have to figure out where another tax shelter is, or where you can put that money at, right? So again, these numbers sound crazy to you, but they're not crazy to me. I know it's possible. I've seen it. I've shown it to you in more ways than one. What some of these jobs can bring in. We talked about the blockchain lead developer, where they were paying $700,000 to start, and then the had the possibility to go up to $1 million in base. That was your base. That wasn't total comp. That was base. And then there was other factors that came in to make up that total comp. So you could walk away with 1.5 million in total comp on some of those salaries. And I actually have some salaries that I wanted to bring up today too. All right, so make sure I want to make sure I answer these questions as well too. Um, I am I am a DevSecOps slash SRE slash cloud architect. Is what in a startup it'd be whatever the job calls for. If you're beholden to larger companies like an IBM or an Amazon, you may just be a cloud architect or just an SRE or just a DevSecOps person. So it depends on the company. But can I do all of those? Yes. All right. All right, so let's see. Make sure I answer all the questions. Colton Evelyn, you said, how do you find the list of those approaching the king or aristocrat qualification? I don't know. I don't know about how you find the list. What I did, what the reason why I know about the AT&T one is because it was somebody else that I followed this morning, and he talked about AT&T falling off because they actually dropped their dividends. They stopped their dividends, so they stopped the consecutive years for them. And then they also, I think they got misplaced off for something. I think they got misplaced off. Was it off the S&P 500? I can't remember. You have to look that one up. It was something else that happened to AT&T as well too. I know they had to pay back a lot of money. But again, 18 got AT&T got dropped off, and two more companies got picked up this week. Let me see. To the aristocrat, were they see AT&T aristocrat or king? What they? I don't remember what AT&T was. Let me look. Let me go back. Let me go look up aristocrat and aristocrat and king list. I can't remember if they were on there. Dividend list for 2022. It's as of January 13th. Need time to catch up here. All right. So markets by Goldman and Sachs, Stash, SoFi. Oh no, hold on, that ain't it. Is it? America, Statswater, Dover, Genuine Parts, Procter and Gamble, 3M, Coca-Cola, Johnson and Johnson, Nordstrom, Farmers and Merchants Bancorp, Ultra. So they may not be on the list of what we consider a what was a king. They might have been on the list for aristocrat. Let's go now. Get past this. Here's dividend king ETFs. Um, let me because I actually have a thing on this and I'll pull it up right after this. So the exchange traded fund, blah 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 blah. Okay, here we go. If you're only invested in Microsoft, you're putting your eggs in one basket, blah blah blah. Right. So here's an example. The Pro Shares S&P 500 Dividend Aristocrats ETF, for example, is a low-cost ETF that tracks the full aristocrat dividend list. And I talked about this before about different um ETFs that track the kings and the different ETFs that track the aristocrats, right? So you don't have to individually invest in those. So you can invest into an ETF that tracks all of those. And if I were you, if I did go invest into a list, an ETF that track those, I would probably track the companies, the holdings within that ETF just to see how they're performing and what's going on with them. Not to say you can predict anything. You just want to know what's going on with your money and where things are invested, right? Um, and it says the only downside of the ETF as opposed to individual stock is that you can expect a small pay of management fee. Yeah, that's expected, right? Um, Let me see if they go into aristocrats. Let's see. Let's see. This page 7 of 12. Let's see. It kept going, but it's not. I'm not seeing a change here. Let me scroll up. Yeah, I don't see a change here. Yep, they just got dividends versus kings. They didn't change the contents on this page for me. All right, so again we're gonna have to do a deeper dive again on the aristocrats and the kings. I think you all like that information and so forth, right? All right, so we talked about the funds. You saw the 9 different black-owned funds, and I would look at those black-owned funds to see if there's something, if you can become an investor into some of those funds, and what would it take to invest in those funds. That's what I would do. Just throwing it out there. All right. So now let's now get into our next subject. Since we were on ETFs, let me drop down to my ETFs. Um, and let's start out with our girl, Kathy Wood. All right. So and I go into my ETFs too. So Kathy Wood, ARK Invest expects Ether or Ethereum to soar over 7,000% and could hit the $1 trillion market cap by 2030. All right. So let me blow that up. She had been out of Tesla for the last 8 months, and Tesla dipped, and she bought some more Tesla this week. So, all right, ARK Invest is forecasting Ether would hit 20 trillion market cap by 2030. At the target, Ether would be priced at 170,000 to $180,000 per coin. I can be honest with you. I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. $100 here and there. I just it's down again. Let me go buy. Let me go scoop some up. Right. Let me put 500, or let me go put on. I just buy it. Just let it sit there. Right. It's again. I'm not telling you to do this. This is just how I do it, just to throw it in there. So if it rises up, cool. If it don't rise up, I'm not gonna miss that $100. Right. So that's just yep, you can barely use it there with the gas fees. Yep. ARK Invest is predicting the price of a single Bitcoin could reach $1 million by 2030. Um, Bitcoin, I don't even know what it's trading at. Is it like 40,000 or 45,000, 46,000? I don't even know what it is right now. I lost track. Let me look it up and see. Let me go and look and see what Bitcoin is right now, because I've lost track on what's going on with Bitcoin. Um, Everybody I know is playing all the other coins. Let me see. So Bitcoin is at 38,381. Right. So yeah, it's down from what it was. I mean, super down from what it was. Right. So it's at 38,000. Right. All right. So, and I have to look up what Ethereum is. I don't even know. I have to go through and check out what Ethereum is. But I just wanted to put this out there with what they were talking about with what's going on with Ethereum. The second largest currency, according to ARK Invest, will meet and surpass 20 trillion market capitalization by 2030. Each coin will be priced at 170,000 to 188,000, based on its current price at 2480. Ether will have to jump by 72% to meet the firm's target. The ETF manager, again, see, an ETF manager said Ethereum could displace many traditional financial services. There are ETFs for Bitcoin and Ethereum out there, and I spoke on that before, right? I spoke on those before. A financial services move on chain. Decentralized networks are likely to share from existing financial intermediaries, the report stated or said. Ark Invest predicts Ether will be a primary beneficiary of this shift. Has anybody read the actual white paper on Ethereum? Right? Have you read this white paper? I'll drop this in the chat. You should read it if you haven't, so you know what you're investing in. You should read it. Now, also, since we're on the topic of Bitcoin, did anybody see that Linus Torvald came out this week and said that he was the founder of Bitcoin, that he is Satoshi? Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? Let me plug up my laptop here before it go dead on us doing the stream. I'm gonna show it to you. That he said he is Satoshi. I'm, I know I'm messing this name up. Yeah, Linus Torvald seems to be claiming that he is Satoshi Nakamoto, the father of Bitcoin. Torvald modified a single line in the kernel, which has left everyone in a spin. All right, is he? I don't know. Let's see what it say. No, Linus Torvald is not Satoshi. All right, let's go here. Let's see what they say. Copy of the kernel's source code emerged on GitHub today. I am Satoshi. It appears that the Linux creator Linus Torvald, did not post this message. Instead, a message included in a fork. Torvald has distanced himself from GitHub and is not known to ever have commented on Bitcoin or cryptocurrency directly. Hold on. A copy of the Linux source code. Remember, Linux is open source. Source code emerged today containing the words "I am Satoshi" in reference to Bitcoin's creator, Satoshi Nakamoto. However, the statement seems to be a joke at, at most, and almost definitely did not come from Toro himself, right? So I just wanted to see if anybody saw that this week. I thought it was funny. I thought it was a joke myself too, when it came out. That's what you're saying, Michael Jenkins. He black? Is it Brian Fox? I don't know who signed the block. I don't know who signed the block. All right, let's get into these ETFs as I promised. Hold on, let me go up here to my site. Now, this is some of this stuff came out last week. We didn't do a show last week, so you know, I started to do one while driving, but I was like, no, because I would be falling asleep. No. All right. So, I don't know if you are familiar with Zacks, Zacks. Um, but check out their site. But anyway, let me pull that up too. Zacks. This is another location where you all can do some research and stuff like that. I was playing around with some of their stuff this week to see how I like it. To get information versus Market Watch versus Yahoo. I just wanted to see what they're like, right? I just wanted to check them out. So check them out. But this is what this reference is. Is Investico S&P 500 equal weight ETF a strong ETF right now? Right? And they're talking about what a smart beta ETFs, which I had never heard of smart beta ETFs, right? So, and I hope you get. Can you see this? Oh, you probably can't, huh? Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can click on this and get a link because there's a different. Oh, oh, that sucks. Hold on. Let me see. Let me copy the link. Um, Let me copy the link and then open it up over here because you can't see it. Cancel. Click here. Okay, you should be able to see that. All right. What are smart beta ETFs? Market cap weighted indexes were created to reflect the market or a specific segment of the market, and the ETF industry has traditionally been dominated by products based on this strategy. A good option for, thank you, a good option for investors who believe in market efficiency, market cap, weighted indexes offer a low cost, right? So here they're going into, because I was like, what is smart? Uh, yep, you use smart, you use that. That's cool. I was like, what is a smart beta? On the other hand, some investors who believe that it's possible to beat the market by superior stock selection opt in. Thank you for the pop ups, opt in another class of funds that track non-capped strategies, particularly known as smart beta. I'll read that again. On other hand, smart investors who believe that it is possible to beat the market by superior stock selection opt in to invest in other class of funds that track non-cap weighted strategies. This is known as smart beta. By attempting to pick stocks that have a better chance of risk return performance, non cap weighted indexes are based on certain fundamental characteristics or a combination of such. And so they get in here and they start talking about um, the fund is managed by Investo, and I guess Investco, and has been able to amass over 32.24 billion, which makes it the largest ETF in the style box, large cap blend. So that's a different style. I know you've probably seen small cap, large cap when you're looking at ETFs. And it says RSP before fees and expenses seeks to match the performance of the S&P 500 equal weighted index, right? And then they go into other costs down here. um, so the ETF, it has a 12-month trailing dividend of 1.3%. It has an annual expenses for ETF of 0.2%. I mean, I guess 0.20, not point 0.2, but 0.20%, making it one of the cheaper products in this space. And I'll drop this link so you all can continue to read about what this page is actually talking about. The ETF has a heaviest allocation in IT, about 15.2%. It talks about Tesla. Remember, I talked about Tesla and its positions and stuff. All right, and it talks about the in phase energy. Remember, there are ETFs that you can go invest in that only specialize on energy, only specialize on oil and so forth. Right, the top 10% holdings account for about 2.74% of the total assets under management. All right. So here they talk about the performance. They said the ETF has lost about 2.38% so far this year, and it's up 22.76% in the last year as of 1/19/2022. In the past 52-week period, it has traded at 126 and 164, right? And then they give some alternatives. I'm gonna drop this because I got a whole lot more to go through, and this list goes on forever right here. But I wanted you to know about smart beta ETFs as another option. You might have never ever heard of it. You've heard of all the other ones, but you might not have never heard of this one. So let me drop this one for you, and I'll put this in their smart beta ETF, and you can check that one out. Right? All right, so now let's look at our next set that had came up. Let's see, because I had a whole list of ETFs. I think it's the J on the end. Hold on, it could be the spaces. Let's see. All right, so on Business Insiders, right? Or Insider, how you want to look at. You just click on ETFs right here, right? And so they come up with like what was the most traded, right, on an equity. And I thought this was interesting. And let me blow that up so you can see that. It should be better now. All right, so here when you all go on your when you go on your Charles Schwab or whatnot, rule of thumb, some of the investment folks taught me was make sure you look out because we're doing a long term strategy. At least I hope you're doing a long term strategy. What does the ETF look like 5 year, 10 year, 20 year, 13 year, or whatnot, right? Because you're gonna be in it for a while, right? So just something I noticed right here. And the other rule of thumb was you want to invest in anything that's giving at least 10% or more because the S&P 500, technically speaking, is supposed to over span of time is should be performing at 10%. So you want to look at something that's at least beating the S&P 500, right? All right, that's the rule of thumb. So for 5 years, right, this Van Eck Gold Miners ETF has a return of 33.91%. And then on 3 years at 44.74%. And then if you hop down here and you look at these two right here, it looks like this ETF here, this iShares US Energy ETF, it looked like the best performance is a year is 67%. That's pretty good, right? You put in $100, you get back 67% of that $100 in a year. That's not bad. But this Energy Select Sector SPDNR fund, you can see the first year it has 71% of return, but over time it ends up dropping down to like around about 12.98%. Right. But I just wanted to show you there are different ETFs that are out there. And it also has like an ETF finder on here. But again, you don't have to use this for to look at performance. Like you could go in and do an advanced search, and you could do a performance in a year or whatnot if you want something that's returning anywhere 10 to 20%. And so then you can see here what's returning on a 3 year performance, how long it's been there, what does the year performance look like, right? And then you can go back and select, see all funds, just another. You can select the type, and so forth. But more than likely you could do this on your Charles Schwab and stuff. But I just wanted to show you like when you're doing your searches of different ETFs or even your dividend stocks. Of course, you want to be in your aristocrat or your king, but you want to make sure that you're returning stuff that's got the high return rates here, right? And here they go right here, high dividend ETFs, right? I don't want to click and keep going into that, but I know what that's going to lead me down a rabbit hole. But I just want you to show. I just wanted to show you some of the stuff. Would you say Cisco Fi ET? Yeah, I have ETF database as well too. I use that one too. About those that don't have Business Insider, that is another alternative. And also, don't forget to look at the performance of them on your brokerage accounts. You can look at that as well too. All right, so let me see here. All right, so this goes back to like the investment funds as well too. When did we get started? Make sure we're on track here. Okay, yeah. Okay, we're cool with time. All right, so let me bring this down a little bit. All right, so world's top 10 private equity firms. Tamika, why do you keep bringing up these private equity firms? Because I think it's something that we should explore. We also should explore more on trust, but it also gives you an idea of I don't know if you've been paying attention. Do y'all remember the guy who makes $100 million a month as a fund investor? Do you remember him? All right, you look, type them in the chat if you remember. Private equity firms manage investment capital obtained from institutional investors, right? To acquire equity ownership of companies through a variety of strategies, including leverage buyouts and venture capital. Private equity firms operate long term investment horizons, typically 5 to 7 years. Who are the top ones? Let's drop down here. You all should know who Blackstone is. You all should know who Blackstone is. They have under their belt a total of $881 billion in assets under their belt. Right? KKR is another one. They have $459 billion in assets. So when I'm looking at these private equity firms, I'm also looking at what they're managing. You know, what are they reaching out to? We saw that whole thing with, I think it might have been Blackstone, but I think it was BlackRock that was buying up real estate. Right? People are still buying real estate. As much as people talk about as much as people talk about real estate is still an asset class. So, which brings back to my other point. What do y'all think McDonald's is? Do you think what type of company do you think McDonald's is to you? Well, what do you think McDonald's is? What about places like uh, Amazon, um, Microsoft? What kind of companies do you think they are? Just in your thoughts. Dropping in chat what kind of companies you think they are. I tell you what kind of companies I think they are. But drop in the chat what kind of companies you think they are. Now, yeah, real estate companies. They're real estate companies. You go look at when Microsoft goes to buy, they actually go out and buy 200 to 300 acres at a time. They own the land. That's so important. That's why I always try to encourage you all to, if you don't do nothing else, if you don't do nothing but buy a house and it's got a lot of land on it, or you just go buy land, at least buy the land, at least own the land. Yep, they own the land they build on. That's what's was a I can't D. What was the name of the movie we watched with talked about McDonald's? Um over there eating. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. We still can't hear you.
I said, don't be telling my business. And then I said, founder. That's what I said.
The
Telling my
founder, yeah.
business. It's some candy sitting on his desk. And I was like,
That's
who left this candy here? I don't even eat candy
I
like
did. I left that candy there. It's delicious. Yeah.
it is
Yes.
delicious. And I can't, it's like potato chips right
It's
now. I
like
want to
potato
go
chips,
throw it.
ain't it? It's just like I had
I
to
want to
stop
throw
myself.
these little things across the room.
You talking about the red ones, the sweet and
These little Sour
sour,
Patch Heart thingies.
yeah, yeah, the sour patch hearts, the little red ones, they
I'm
delicious.
about
I
to
was
throw
like,
them across the room. Yeah, but it was Founder. It was about Ray Kroc and how he started. Well, he was like
well,
hawking burgers.
how McDonald's got stolen, really. It's really what it was. Because
How he went
McDonald's
in
got
there and
stolen.
filleted them was
Because
a
the
good movie.
original founders of McDonald's was didn't own the land. Right? They went into business with him and they ended up with nothing. Really, McDonald's was stolen. If you really want to know the truth about it. So um, here's
Because Ray
another
Kroc was doing the licensing. He did. It's a good movie.
here's another fun fact. Um, do you all do you all know how YouTube got started? I actually spoke on this. It's a fun fact. Google didn't are not the founders of YouTube. They were actually they were actually bought. Um, the founders of YouTube sold YouTube for 1.6 billion to you to Google. The founders did. Um, and so um, they started it back in 2000. They sold it in 2006, I believe. It might have been they sold it in 2005, and then it went, you know, uh, it got integrated into Google and launched in 2006. Yep, they sold it for 1.6 billion, 1.65 to be exact. Stole his wife too. She's like, I'm going where the money's at, where the money reside. I know. I ain't nothing. Let me see who close that. So back on this list, the Carlyle Group, um, Tama Bravo. The Carlyle Group is managing 161 billion in assets. Tama Group is managing 91 billion in assets. EQT is managing 81.7 billion dollars in assets. Vista Equity 86 billion. TPG Capital 109 billion. Warburg Pincus, which was brought up 73 billion, but they actually manage more than 73 billion now. They actually manage more than 73 billion now. They're actually not in the top 10 anymore. They're in the top 5. They increased. They increased theirs. Newberger Berman Group, 460 billion, and then they go on to large agriculture. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up so you can understand, like, what these funds are actually doing, and the investments that they're making, and where they're making investments at, and how you in your own group, in your own community, can make an investment fund, right? Need to be more aware, self-aware of what goes on, instead of we just say, oh, let me go invest into an ETF. Well, make your own ETF. Mr. Wonderful got his own ETF. He sure does. Let me pull it up. I pulled it up. I was gonna invest in it. I'll tell you what the name of it is. Let me let me pull that up real quick. Because Mr. Wonderful has his own ETF. Let me see if I can find the name of it. It's O Shares or something like that. Hold on, and I'll tell you exactly what it is. Cause I get the emails every day for Mr. Wonderful and his ETF. Let me look up online here. I can't find it in my email. Mr. Wonderful ETF. O shares. Yeah, that's what I thought. O shares ETFs home. And here is his shares, right? Right, right. You can download fund materials, register for O shares webcast, request additional portfolio detail, different insights and so forth. Um, Here's the O shares ETFs and their stocks. Do your dividend research and so forth. Like, he got his own setup, right? Um, so I just want you all to be aware. Like, he has his own ETF and he has his own fund. So you could do the same thing. It's nothing stopping you but research and understanding um, how you can do that, right? So just be aware of that. All right. So let's go to our next one. Private equity fund, ETF. Let me see what this one is. I can't remember off the top of my head. Cancel. Click here. All right. Should ALPS equal sector weight ETF be on your investing radar? This is from January the 19th. Like I said, I'm behind on some of them. Designed to provide broad exposure to large cap blend segment of the U.S. equity market, APPS equal sector weight ETF (EQL) is passively managed and exchanged traded fund launched in 2009, 7/7/2009. The fund is sponsored by apps and has amassed over 217 million in, I guess, managed assets, making it one of the largest size ETFs to match the large cap blend segment of the U.S. equity. They talk about large cap blends having a market capitalization of 10 billion. They talk about their costs. Let's see, the annual operating expense for this ETF is 0.28%, putting it on par with most peer products in the space, and it has a 12-month trailing dividend of 1.73. And then they go on to talk about exposure and top holdings. Let's drop down here and see if they have it. Looking at the individual holdings, it is in the energy sector. So, Energy Select Sector SPR Fund XLE accounts for 10% of its assets, and followed by XLF and XLB. The top 10 holding accounts for about 91.39% of it. Let's see. It is up. It says so far it's down so far. So far that was on the 19th, so I don't know what it is this week, this year, and it's up 24.17% in the last year, from 2021 to 2022, or 119. In the 52-week period, it has traded $85 and then $110. Right. So I put this in here. Go check it out. Put it on your watch list. I am a fan of the energy segment. Here we go right here. iShares, S&P 500, and SPDR. So IBB and SPY track a similar index, right? So I'm involved in SPY and it's performing pretty good. So I'm gonna drop this in the chat for you as well too. But look at some energy segments, especially when we start talking about what is it going to look like in the EV space as well too. All right, so let's see. Well, since we're on wealth, I did a research. Let's talk about my research. My research involved this: how have the billionaires been able to stay billionaires? Does anybody have a clue? Anybody got a clue how billionaires have been able to stay billionaires?
I can't answer, right?
Yeah, you can answer.
Can I?
Yeah.
Let's see what they have in the chat. By not spending money, policy and lobbying, insurance, inheritance.
Inheritance is the answer. Inheritance is the answer. So, um, let's ask this: do you know how much the Waltons, one of the Waltons, grandson is worth? Do you know how much the grandson is worth? One of the Waltons' grandson is worth 35 billion. He's on this list that I'm bringing up. You already know how he got his money. Inheritance. So here, 15 under 40, the youngest billionaires for this is 2021, all right? And then they go into here how they got their money. Most of the billionaires got their money from inheritance. Like Disney, she got the daughter of Disney, she got her money from her dad. It got passed down. The Waltons amassed have amassed their wealth, but Alice, she's worth 69.1 billion dollars. She didn't get a divorce. She just amassed this wealth, right? Um, so they go into this article about how some of these billionaires have met. Some of them are man, not man made. Some of them are. I don't want to say getting it out of the mud. I don't really want to say it that way. But you get where I'm coming from on it. So here are the 15 youngest members of Forbes, and this was last year. Net worth as of September of 2021. I'll bring up somebody else that I found today that Coinbase. Uh, he's on the billion dollar list as well too, right? All right, so Sam Friedman, $22.5 billion for cryptocurrency. Not Mark Zuckerberg, but even Spiegel, 13.8 billion for Snapchat. The other founder for Snapchat, 15.2 billion. Fred, I guess you say Earsom, 3.5 billion for crypto exchange. Lucas Walton, 35, 17.2 and 130. It's 17 point. He's 35. Walton is the grandson of the Walmart founder Sam Walton and the son of John Walton, who died in a plane crash in 2005. He inherited one third of his father's estate and serves as the chair of the Walton's Foundation Environment Program. He donated
One third.
360,000.
One third
One
at
third.
17.2 billion.
One third. Right.
I need a third of that.
Let me get a third of a third.
Can I get a third
Uh,
of a third?
right. Baju Bot, I think that's how you say it. Um, has 2.9 billion at 26 from a stock trading app. He is the one from Robinhood, right? Robinhood Markets until he stepped down in November of 2020. He co-founded Robinhood. Mark Zuckerberg, 134.5 billion. Dustin, I guess, most
Moscovitz.
Moskovitz. I was going to slay that. 37
Merkins.
at 24.1 billion for Facebook. Brian Armstrong, crypto exchange, 11.5 billion. Nathan, say it then. Go ahead.
Belcharzik.
Good.
Belcharzik.
Okay.
Nathan Belcharzik.
Bill
Airbnb.
Charger. Okay. Airbnb, 10 billion. You should know that one. Scott Duncan, 6.2 billion for pipelines. Duncan and his three older siblings each inherited a stake in the pipeline company Enterprise Products Partners after their father Dan Duncan died in 2010. RJ Scrange, is that Scrange? Electric
Scrunch.
vehicle Scrunch, that's what I said. 38. He's 38 at 3.4 billion. This is the founder of Rivian. I can get behind him. I can get behind Rivian. Ernest Garcia, 9.3 billion for used cars for Carvana, but Carvana has a lawsuit out against them. Um, People have been complaining about Carvana. Go check out the lawsuit against them. So 9.3 billion isn't going to take his billions away, but they do have a lawsuit that don't look good, right? Right here, you see North Carolina suspended Carvana from selling cars from its Raleigh location until January 22 for violating dealer licensing laws. There's been several issues with Carvana, so watch out for that. Lindsay Snyder, 4.2 billion for In and Out Burger. Uh, she became In and Out's president in 2010 at 27. Her father and her uncle died young in the 1990s and has added more locations, including its first two in Colorado.
And this is her grandparents founded it in 1948.
Right. Ben Silberman, 3.32 for social media for Pinterest at 39. Right. So again, you can see right here, this list has newcomers, the richest list for women and so forth. Let's go over here to the women. So women make up 14% of the Forbes 400, but these 56 moguls altogether collectively are worth 564 billion. So top down here, Alice McKenzie. We
Walton.
know how McKenzie got hers. Julia Koch and family. Jacqueline Mars, candy and pet food. Um, Miriam, and I showed this list before.
Hmm.
Alderson. Yep. If
Casinos.
yeah, yep. If they didn't amass it from inheritance, it was a tech startup, or what the other ways I've seen that we just talked about is private equity funds. Um, and those private equity funds again amass real estate and buy businesses, and they keep that in the portfolio themselves and grow them. That is what I've seen. This is from my research. So that's why I'm talking and saying this is a track that I'm going down. Abigail Johnson, money management 25.2 billion. Lauren Powell jobs, Apple and Disney, um, Diane Hendricks, uh, Blair Okaden, and Walton, and then they stop right there. But it's a whole nother list that I showed a couple of weeks ago. How these people got their money, but from my research, including a lot of the men, it has been inheritance. So the question is, what are you going to leave behind for your family? Not just your children. I'm talking about your family, your namesake. Like the Walton is a Koch, Walton, Rockefeller. Their names, like Kennedy's, like their names. Like when you think of Kennedy's, you think of men and women, right? When you think of Disney, you think of I think of real estate and land, and I don't even think of his daughter. I just think of the branding itself. Um, some of them, I don't think they pay taxes on those inheritance,
Well, that's why
Mercedes.
they have those foundations. I'm pretty sure
Trust.
that there are shelters and trusts in place to protect from inheritance taxes.
Yep. Let me see. Do you know who Stanley Drunken Miller is? Stanley Drunken Miller. He runs a hedge fund. I'm gonna pull him up for you.
But during the first year as a president,
This is
his
Stanley
policy doesn't
Drunken
seem to
Miller.
work. An economic crisis
Let's
is
let's
looming.
let's pull him up
Behind
so
every
y'all know who
crisis,
Stanley
there's an
is.
opportunity.
Stanley Drunken Miller. Let's pull up his net worth. Because everybody's like, you should listen to him. Stanley Drunken Miller is the chairman and chief investment officer of. Thank you for blocking that. Anyway, he worked 10.4 billion. Let me go to another site. Forbes got him down. Let me see. They got him down here at 129.22 at 6.8 billion. Stanley Drunken Miller made it big as a hedge fund manager. Hedge fund manager. Remember when I talked about that Series 65 and you heading in hedge funds? This is where that comes from, right? He's a hedge fund manager for 30 years. He now manages his money through a family office. We talked about this before, what a family office is. And you probably you could get a lot of information from Erica Williams on family office, but we should do a deeper dive on what a family office is. I know D, you had started doing research on that. You wanted to do it. Do you want to do a takeover one day on that? You lead the path on that? Yeah, no. D just gonna be silent in the background.
I'm clicking buttons. Definitely can. I don't know when the last time I looked at it, but of course.
Okay. All right. So let's go back over here to more about him. Until 2000, he worked for George Soros. The duo famously bet against the British pound in 1992 and made massive profits. He shut down his $12 billion hedge fund, Duns Capital Management, in August of 2010, returning funds to his clients. A $12 billion hedge fund. He's 68. right? He's married. He got a bachelor's arts in science from Bowdoin College. At Bowdoin College, or Bowdoin, I guess you say that, Drunken Miller reportedly ran a hot dog stand for extra cash and graduated magna cum laude. I love being around kids. I couldn't figure out why all these 70-year-olds wanted to hang out with me when I was 27. Now I understand. I'm just trying to steal their energy. Stanley Drunken Miller. All private trust funds. That's right. If you see a pattern here, I hope you see any patterns here. All right. So black on richest fund. We talked about Kathy. Oh yeah. So hop over here to biotech real quick. Biotech. Eli Lilly is investing $1 billion to build a brand new plant in Concord. Eli and company plan to invest $1 billion and this is another avenue which is got a lot of funding behind it. Is biotech. Um, Carrabba's County manufacturing companies will generate nearly 600 jobs with an average wage over 100. I mean not 100, over $70,000. According to Carrabba's Economic Development Corporation, this is the second major economic development announcement made for the grounds at Concord, the site of the former Philip Morris plant, which within the past year is the second largest in the history of that particular county. They would change the landscape of biotech in this part of our state. It expands North Carolina's life sciences industry into Charlotte region and in a very transformative way, bringing tremendous opportunity with it. Right, the facility is required will the facility will require 589 highly skilled workers such as scientists, engineers, and manufacturing personnel. An estimated 500 positions will be required during the construction, so that's 1,100 right there. The entire project will consist of over 800,000 square feet across a 5 building campus that includes the manufacturing facility with spaces for logistics, packaging, quality control lab, and central utilities plant. It's a lot of money and a lot of people. It's a lot of money and a lot of people. $1 billion going into the area. So all them people need a place to eat, stay. All those people need something to do. They're gonna need affordable housing eventually. 70,000 not bad to start out with. If that's what's coming into the area. All right. Next up, see, we did Kathy Wood. Next up is LeBron James. I don't know if you saw this or not. LeBron James is partnering with Crypto.com to offer Web3 opportunities through his foundation. All right. James is in partnership with Crypto.com for pushing more Web3 opportunities. I want to ensure communities like the one I come from are not left behind. LeBron James is getting into Web3 via his charitable foundation. Blockchain technology is revolutionizing our economy, sports, and entertainment, so forth. You already saw what's his name? What's the one that did the one-handed catch for the new? He used to be with the New York Giants. He's not. He. I think he with. I think he with. He not with San Francisco. He with. Is he with the Chiefs? I don't know. What's his name with the blonde hair? The receiver. They had all this money put into Bitcoin, and it went from 750,000 to now it's worth 35,000. I don't know if y'all saw that. I forget his name off the top of my head right now. It'll come back to me. But be careful with your Bitcoin, right? Don't put your salary in there. Be careful. Through his foundation program called I Promise, James said he plans to expose students to career paths that may have never known existed, according to an announcement on Friday. Web3 is a decentralized online ecosystem that runs the blockchain. There are no central authority as opposed to current Web2. Which, speaking of, did y'all see the NFTs get? Was it OpenSea? No, it was the apes. They got robbed. Did you see that for their NFTs? I think it was like 2 million or something like that. What is the guy name? NFL player, Giants, one-handed catch. It's just gonna bug me. Yeah, OBJ. Yeah, Odell Beckham Jr. I can't believe I can't remember his name. That's the catch right there, right? Knew you knew what I was talking about. All right. Yeah, Odell. Um. So Web3. We need to do more on Web3. It's just a lot to try to keep up with investment funds, Web3, write courses, travel, study. I got my own studying I need to do. It's just a lot to keep up with. All right, over to Nvidia. They're backing out of this deal with ARM. I was looking forward to that deal, 40 billion. I had my money on Nvidia getting this done. They let me down. They cut me deep, Trent. They cut me deep on this one. Nvidia is quietly preparing to abandon this $40 billion acquisition. Somebody else is going to go buy ARM. I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Microsoft or Google went and bought ARM because Apple already made their own chip. So if Microsoft wanted to be on par with what is going on with Apple, I will go and buy ARM. Why not? Now they have their own chip. Now they rebrand the Surface and the laptop industry, right? Not on and the cloud industry as well too. Even the quantum, when we're talking about quantum computing, is right, right? Just a thought, but they're abandoning that. I was looking forward to that. Drop in the chat who you think should buy ARM. Who would you want to see buy ARM? All right, J.P. Morgan banker. Yeah, Microsoft would be a good pick. The J.P. Morgan banker with 1.5 million basic salary and 33 million bonus. I'm gonna say that again. The J.P. Morgan banker with a $1.5 million basic salary and $33 million bonus. A place where bankers refuse to work no matter how good the money is. Would you work there? You get 1.5 million in a salary and 33 million bonus. Would you work there? I just want to know. Drop in the chat if you say yes. Say yes in the chat. D, would you go work there?
I'll be working. Mm-hmm. You like line one, Miss Parlor? Take a message. Frank. Frank, take a message. I'm about to go into my umpteenth meeting of the day.
All right.
Susie, bring me my coffee. Oh yeah, I'm working.
All right. Let's get into it. Uh, let's see. There are a few bigger rainmakers, they say, than Jamie Dimon himself. Jamie Dimon himself. Although Dimon is dynastically rich, we guesstimated a while back that he probably has more liquid realizable wealth than the Queen of England. It's nearly an all It's nearly all come from performance related, combined with the appreciation of JPM stock price during his time at the top. To a certain extent, the official per annum total comp of 34.5 million understates what a good year he has had because he doesn't include the special award of long-term stocks he got in July, which was valued at 50 million and intended to encourage him to stay for another 5 years. I'm gonna read that again. It's nearly all performance related because of the appreciation of JPM stock price during the time at the top. To a certain extent, the official per annual total comp of 34.5 million under understates what a good year he has had because it doesn't include a special award of long-term stock units he got in July, which was valued at 50 million and intended to encourage him to stay for another 5 years. It's hard to say he doesn't deserve it, but the board might be storing up problems for the future. Across the rest of the street, people have been handing out warnings with letters telling bankers not to get used to it, and 2022 awards are likely to be lower uh, unless something truly unprecedented happens. Although Jamie Dimon has seen bull and bear markets than most of us, he can't be wholly immune to the same emotions as any other banker. A mere $20 million bonus would not feel like an insult. I'm just showing what these bankers are getting, these funds are getting, just putting bugs in your ear for you to look, right? So here, if you look over here on the side right here, you'll see that these are popular jobs that a hedge fund is offering, right? Now, one thing about these hedge funds, um, the people that work there can be gatekeepers, right? So let's go look at some of their jobs. This one is paying from 200 to 250,000 a year as a lead cloud engineer at a top five hedge fund, right? That does not include the stocks that you'll probably get as well too. All right, so all right, key responsibilities: design and build cloud applications in a greenfield environment. Meaning, this is a ain't nothing in there. We're going from nothing to something. Lead engineering teams by re-architecting, designing, and building new cloud-native applications, tools, services, and automation engines. Design and build cloud-native container and solutions. Define best practices as a thought leader. I always talk about this 50,000 foot view and then drill down. Uh, Bachelor's degree or equivalent, 6 years of hands-on experience building applications and services in the AWS environment, significant expertise in Lambda or serverless, if you want to look at it that way, batch or step functions. Extremely competitive employee benefit program, 401k and compensation package, one of the best work cultures, casual dress, collaborative team, right? You should go look up their 401k plan. That's what I would do first. And I'm sure they have a list of their benefits out there. So this is lead systems engineer. Notice they don't have a cost up here, right? They always say negotiable. And this is December. This was posted. But as a Linux system engineer, um, you'll be doing troubleshooting OS problems, an expert at resource and performance tuning, system kernel and hardware, data storage and compute clusters, experience in Linux administration, Python programming, basically they're for scripting, um, experience with mechanized build systems in an environment Ansible. In other words, configuration management, broad understanding of OS fundamentals and Linux system internals and computer hardware and network protocols. Right. That's what they have there. Let's go back over to the website. Here we go. Um, let me see what else they got. Popular sectors, technology, trading, so forth, search jobs, this, that, and other. We'll go technology. Um, and we'll drop down here. Let's do a consultant. I want to see what kind of consultant they're looking at. SharePoint, senior technology risk consultant. Uh, looks like a M365, Office 365, IT delivery, a sales engineer, a private equity analyst, um, programmer, ETL, cloud architect, quant research data scientist. So those of you that don't want to work full time, maybe you go in as a contractor. You are talking about JP Chase Morgan, so I hope you don't play yourself and then go in under $100 an hour. You just playing yourself. Infrastructure security architect. Let's look at that. Competitive. Boom, boom. Principal accountabilities with a 10 years information security, 5 years of experience, knowledgeable, broad range of infrastructure and information security, understanding HIPAA compliance, multiple multi-cloud, Kubernetes, so forth. On a position like this, infrastructure security architect, I wouldn't do nothing less than anywhere between 250 to 400K. If I was doing something like that, that would be my range on that. Just giving you an idea. Um, just don't sell yourself short. All right. And let me see. I mean, I got to roll over here. I think I'm getting through most of, well, I got a few more things, but um, let me get to Tesla and then we're going to get into some individual stuff that I thought was interesting. Um, yeah. It didn't say why they wouldn't work there. I'm assuming it's just being overworked, right? That's what I'm assuming. All right, a new Tesla trademark filing hints that the company uh, is looking to sell audio products like headphones and megaphones. Headphones and megaphones. What do you think Tesla could be looking to get into with headphones and megaphones? What is that? What does that look like? Tesla has filed for a new trademark that will let the car maker sell its own audio products. The items listed in the application included microphones, headphones, audio speakers, and megaphones. Could they be coming after Samsung? Could they be coming after Samsung? Bose? Could they be coming into the home? It's unclear if the audio products would be used for the vehicles, sound systems, or their own. Right? But a megaphone? I don't know. When the last time somebody used a megaphone? On the field? At a game? When the last time somebody used a megaphone? I don't know. I don't know. What's megaphone design? I don't know what a megaphone looks like anymore. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about for a
Oh,
megaphone?
I'm in
Like,
here talking a megaphone. You know, you can use it
I,
at
I mean,
games.
I know, but I'm just trying to figure out why would Tesla be interested in a megaphone?
Why with Tesla? So you can hear them
Yeah,
coming.
why would they be interested in a megaphone? What are they looking to do with that? Right? Football games. You gonna have Tesla megaphones at football games? I, I don't know. And this just came over. Semiconductors have reached a crisis level. The market on used cars is gonna keep going up, which brings me to this one here. I just want to talk about the megaphones. I'm like, what? What could you be doing with a megaphone? Hmm. All right. Oh, I hit a mark there. So you know what increased in sales? Um, why sales of a high-priced Bentley and Rolls Royce has boomed while the auto industry has suffered. So the Bentleys and the Rolls Royce sales have boomed. This is posted 9 hours ago. The sales of the ultra luxury cars thrived in 2021 as the auto industry struggled to build enough cars. Rolls Royce, for example, grew sales by a whopping 49%. Superior premium brands saw big demand and weren't affected by the chip crisis. And I can tell you, the luxury brands have no problem selling cars. The the Porsche, the G wagon, the McLarens, the Ferraris, no problem. And let me tell you what people did. A lot of people went and the cars that they have, they sold them and went and got into other cars that will increase over time, right? In 2021, as the computer chip shortage and other pandemic-related disruptions cast wrench after wrench into cogs of auto manufacturing, but the ultra high-end brands like Bentley and Rolls-Royce thrive. A surging stock market made wealthy consumers even richer, while the pandemic drove them to open their wallets to physical goods instead of travel and vacations. And I talked about the physical goods like the gold and the silver as well too. Watches, people drop their hands in there. Oh, megaphones or external speakers in the Tesla. See, I didn't even know that. Then that makes more sense. A surging stock market made what? Okay, yeah. Plus, super premium brands weren't hit by the semiconductor shortage like the mass market manufacturers. Rolls Royce flagship Phantoms starts at around 460,000, and they sold 55,586 cars in 2021, up 49% from 2020. And Bentley moved 14,659 vehicles, up 31% increase over the previous year. And Lamborghini had a record breaking year. I know they did. I know the Lambo had a record breaking year because the Lambos that my guy was selling and looking at, he was getting them at 320 and was selling them for 750. Mike was killing them. Mike was killing them. Mike was killing them. Let's see. What's the question? What does information transmission look like in sound waves combined with another technology, hypersonic, lo-fi, encrypted sound wave? I don't know, but remember when we talked about um, remember when we talked about the whole digital signal processing and the quantum computing in space, the cryptography in space with quantum computing and being encrypted end-to-end transmission from satellites all the way down. I don't know. Could be a play. Could be a quantum computing play too, right? I don't know. I don't know. Could be, right? Let's see. Even the application is approved. Companies don't sell. Is this the right one? Oh no, that's the wrong one. Boom. Back over here. In part, sales boom for a simple reason: the wealthy people got even richer over the last couple of years. Sales of luxury vehicles are directly correlated with the stock market, by Michelle Cripps, executive analyst of Cox Automotive. A strong market during the pandemic, one that has doubled the wealth of the 10 richest in 2 years. And we saw that with Tim Cook this week, right? Was it Tim Cook? Yeah, for Apple. We saw that Apple was able to make $124 billion. And I'll pull that up, right? May have pushed a certain segment of buyers to pull the trigger on tailor-made Rolls Royce's 400,000, Rolls Royce Cullinan $200,000 Bentley Continental have lusted after. Um, see, both Rolls Royce and Bentley also chalk up booming demand in recent years to new product offerings that have lured first time buyers. Since 2019, Bentley has launched new models, paint schemes, and dark black line accessory package. Right, and it goes on, and then they talk about another piece of the puzzle that Bentley and Rolls Royce are owned by big parent companies like Volkswagen and BMW Group, respectively. They're strongly incentivized to allocate as many computer chips as necessary to their most profitable products and brands. Neither Rolls Royce nor Bentley experienced issues obtaining chips they needed. The companies told Insider, prioritizing high margin vehicles when supplies are running thin in business 101, right? So they didn't have a problem with the higher end cars, right? In 2012, 6% of the cars bought in the US cost $50,000 or more. In 2021, that figure grew to 30% more. Indeed, you could drop the link as well too, if anybody want to come up. I'm almost towards the end, so it's all good now. Um, Talked about the biotech. I thought this was interesting. So this guy left his who quit his six-figure job at Google to focus on real estate full time, explains how he did it. Um, He quit his program manager job at Google, which paid well over six figures. His first real estate purchase was a single family home in Austin in 2017 at 22. He said he put down 4,000 on his first year and grew his portfolio to $4 million in assets over 5 years. He's now 27. Um, uh, he is from, he says, taking his call from a strip mall, from in a strip mall parking lot. He resigned from a coveted program manager with Google after spending 5 years building real estate business on the side. Houston area native believed that it was time to dedicate his focus entirely on entrepreneurship. But I guarantee you, he took all his money and his winnings that he got from Google and started investing in the real estate. I bet you he had a cushion, and I bet you he took that money and made that money work for him. I bet you he did. He's talking about, I guess, his wife. He was telling her, I want to make my career in a different direction, take my career in a different direction. I want to start doing real estate. In the video, called to his boss on Google. I even clicked the button on my camera and flipped it around my shoulder and said, look, this is one of the properties I just purchased 3 months ago. He took a huge pay cut, but I guarantee you he also had some money saved up. The retail center is one of the handful. Listen to this. This is why I've been talking about all this stream. Leads me down this road. The retail center is one of the handful of recent acquisitions by Pebble Ridge Capital, said Herman, who owns and operates with his partner, Pebble Ridge Capital. So he has his own investment fund, right? He has a tax shelter. We should need to look up tax shelters on these investment funds. As soon as I got off the call and out of the car, I'm back to dealing with contractors. She said, it's like no break of transition time, right back in, but I love it. Right? And so he started out from nothing and moved up to 5 million. Coming to the deal with only a few $1,000s down. Hamani said he was able to purchase a new single family home in Teramo subdivision, D.R. Horton, for less than 200,000. Luck would have his plans for the Tesla Gigafactory project would later emerge, making his pocket of Austin even harder for home buyers and speculators. He said he sold the house this year for more than twice than what he paid for it in just 4 years, providing a handsome return. Shortly after purchasing his first house, he reached out to his family and friends about some opportunities across Texas he had been researching. He asked for loans from individuals to help pad his bottom line and provide ability. Again, you need friends with money. He admits it was a bit risky. The houses I bought early on ended up setting me up for where I am today, he said of his early property purchases, but he could have just as easily gone the opposite direction. And he goes on to talk about leveling up, and the article goes on forever. But I thought that was important, those two pieces, to bring everything together about what we talked about with real estate today. We talked about McDonald's being a real estate company. We talked about Microsoft, and we talked about all those others being real estate companies. And we also talked about those funds, right? Those private equity funds. Again, he's 22. From 22 to 27, he's amassed 5 million in assets under a fund, right? We have to keep that in mind, under that fund. And he also networked. That's right, right? He networked, and he has a network of people. Like, it'd be cool if you had a network of people that can help you fund buying a hotel, because you all are in the network together to do this thing. But in order to get there, we got to get in the game and get the money so we can get in the game. All right. And last but not least, um, I want to talk about Tencent. I don't think it matters to most people. How a laid off restaurant manager used a Salesforce training program to change careers and land a job. I was on Clubhouse the other night, and a guy was saying that he did Salesforce training, and he was able to go out and get a job after he got certified and become a trainer. The guy name is Faraz Hamani. I'll put his name in the chat. And you know what? It'd be, if you reach out to him, ask him ask to do an interview with him. All right. So Nugent, is that how you say it, or is it Gwen? Is it Gwen Dion? It's Gwen, and
When
yeah. Was a regional manager at a Vietnamese sandwich shop in Minneapolis that he had been working for 5 years. But in March of 2020, Gwen became one of the 114 million people that lost his job due to the virus. I'm not going to say I wasn't happy, but I could have been more in tune with myself and my surroundings. Um, but anyway, it jumps down here and it says Salesforce pointed to data showing he didn't give his salary, but it just says they earn over 95,000 a year, right? But again, we're talking about somebody that was doing sandwiches and probably one making nowhere near 95,000 to someone who's making at a minimum. It probably pays more, but at a minimum, we know they're making 95,000, right? I got through everything, D. Let me double check. Let me double check. I think that's everything. Um, Let me double check my stuff here. I talked about tenant, but I mean, I don't know if this even matters to you all. 10 Cent fired 70 people and blacklists 13 firms in an anti-fraud campaign. This is a Chinese internet giant, right? It's overseas, so that's why I say I don't know if this would be important to you. I don't know if that's important to you. Let me go back into my document because there's one other document I had. And it's only two links on that document, and I just want to see what they were. Because I did a combination today. Uh, oh yeah, yeah. Let's talk about this one. Frisco Partners scoops up bulk of IBM Watton's health unit. It has been right. It has been considered an climatic ending. IBM sold off its data assets of its Watson Health unit to a private equity firm in San Francisco. The two firms did not share the purchase price, but previous report pegged it around $1 billion. So IBM has sold off the health part of Watson, right? They started it in 2015. Under the deal, Frisco is grabbing various pieces of the unit, including the health insights, the market scan, the clinical development, the social program management, the medics, and imaging software offerings. This gives Frisco Partners a broad range of health data under its umbrella. Right. So they're thinking it's around about one billion they probably sold it for. Right. So that's downsizing probably on IBM side because IBM is really going after quantum heavily. And last but not least, on Highway Linux, the nasty kernel bug found and fixed. A heap overflow bug was recently discovered in the Linux kernel. This patch is now available on most distributions. I think this is across all Linux um, platforms. The security bug actually aren't Linux bugs. For example, a security vendor CrowdStrike report on the biggest Linux-based malware families was really about system administrator security blunders with Telnet, SSH, Docker, and all Linux. But it doesn't mean Linux doesn't have security goals, but it does. Let's see if they get into it. In this one, the heap overflow bug in the legacy parts param is the Linux kernel's file system context. That sounds like SE Linux, right? The parameter is used to in Linux file systems during the superblock creation of the mount and superblock reconfiguration for a remount. Yeah, so this is across all Linux systems on this one. The superblock records all of the file system characteristics such as file size, block size, empty file field storage blocks, and so forth. So yeah, it's important. And they're going to talk about more. It says, so how bad is it? By the CVE or CVSS 3.1 scoring test, it's a solid 7.7. That's considered a high security vulnerability. A local attacker can use it to escalate their user privilege on a on or crash the system. This can be done with specifically crafted program that triggers this integer overflow that is done. That's done. It's trivial to execute arbitrary code and give the attacker root privileges. Right? So they can get root privileges on your system. I'll drop this in there. This was January 21st of 2022. Today's the 29th. So, again, like I said, I had this stuff last week. So you probably already know about it, but I'll drop this in there. And engineering cannabis, you say the health AI market is underserved. Yep, but they're creating AI and uses object detection to track heart and help with your eyes. Yep. And then you go on to say, oh yeah, the Vietnamese one. Yep, that was it, everybody. I still have more, but I'm not gonna tell her, not gonna keep everybody on too long. I know you missed us. I missed reporting last week and this week. Um, Feel free to come up to offer any insight, what you liked about the stream, didn't like about the stream. I'm turning the doors of the church is open for you to come share your knowledge and your wisdom for whatever you are feeling need to discuss. D, how was that? Was that good? Is that good time? 2:19. That's not bad, right?
It's not 2:19.
It says 2 hours and 19 minutes. That we did.
Oh, 2 hours and 19 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's that's pretty good.
I don't know for something that's supposed to be an hour.
These are
Did
nice.
you feel like were you rushed? Did you get everything off that you wanted to get out?
Yeah, I usually go 2 hours.
But I'm just saying, did you get everything out? Did you feel rushed? Did you Are you
Mm-mm.
at peace with that?
Mm, I'm in peace.
Well, as long as you're at peace, we're great.
I'm at peace. Yep.
As long
Feel
as you're
free to
at
come
peace.
up. Yeah, feel free to come up, share your thoughts. I don't know if intentional millionaire is still out there. B9, I don't know if you're still out there or whatnot. Make sure I got everything covered. I think I covered everything. I don't think I have. I don't think I have. Let me see. I'm trying to think about.
Because it's actually a mix of shows.
Oh, hold on. Oh, it ain't on here. There was a. There was a. All right, so it's this guy I follow on YouTube. He's out here in Colorado. Um, his name is Dave, but it's Hidden Freedom Investment. Let me look it up. Hidden Freedom Investing. And here is right here where I found out about the King and the ETF right here. But he has a
Hey, Dave here, Hidden Freedom. Welcome back to
um
another Saturday video. And today,
he has a video in here. Let me see
I don't think
right
that's
here.
the video.
It's the video. This is how he started his video. That's how he started his video. All right, so look, so ETF investment pyramid. I'll make this bigger. So in here, he talks about yeah, policy kit is another one. So he talks about your growth, then your growth dividends, your growth income dividends, your hedge growth, and then income. So VTI, SAX, ITOT, FX, AIX. And then he goes into his growth dividends. And I'm in Divio. KNG is who he focused on today. And Nusi and Jeppy for hedge income and growth. And then your income QYLD, RYLD, and XYLD. So he calls this your ETF investment pyramid. You can go check out his site. But I thought this would be a good uh, look for you all to see when we're talking about the investments in ETF and what they look like and what it could possibly look like. Right. So KNIG. So let's go on Yahoo and look up KNIG. And then we'll look at their holdings. Not KNIG, but KND. So I keep wanting to call them King. Oh, what happened? No. KNG. Here we go. This is the dividend aristocrats. Right. It's funny. It's called K. The ticker is KNG, but this is the dividend aristocrats. Right. And so here are the holdings on that. Um, Exxon Mobil, Chevron, Nucor Group, Energy, General Dynamics Corporation. We go over here to performance. We can see that over a year, daily total return of 22.42% and 18.76% on a 3 year daily return, right? So in 2021, it returned 24.39%. Prior to the pandemic, it returned 25.88%. Right. So KNG. Remember, we want everything over 10%. Right. So it looks like right here, 36.37% at one point in time. But I hope that makes sense and help y'all out right there on that. That was it, D. You're welcome, Nurse J. You're welcome. Make sure I got everybody comment. I responded to it. You got his name. Deep learning transmissions can be done using deep learning neural network algorithms. Yep. What's up, Keep It Techie? How you doing? Golden Evelyn, how you doing? Mama Do, how you doing? All right, make sure I say hey to everybody. But that's it. That's all I had. That's all the information. If you want to come up, you come up. If not,
You sure?
we're gonna
You
shut it
sure
down.
that's all you had?
Yeah, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Think you have something else in you.
I ain't got nothing else. I don't have nothing else. I'm over. Finito.
I don't believe you for some reason.
Hmm.
I don't believe you for some reason.
Oh no.
But I'm glad you were able to get it all out. Like I was saying before, it was kind of like two shows
in one.
in
So that's a
one.
question for the audience. Do you feel like we should just do one show instead of two? Should we just keep and do you like this time slot better? Do you like the 4 o'clock in the afternoon time slot?
Well, we asked that question before, and they were like, "Nah, we like both shows."
Yeah. See,
Oh, truth be
everybody
told,
say
said
one
one
show.
show. So that's one person.
4 o'clock. Let me see. Can I create a poll? I can dance on a pole. But can I create a poll? All right, Mercedes say both shows. Yeah, because the thing. If I open up this window, then we'll be talking another 30 minutes. But like things I want to do on this particular show today, I want to be technical and talk about the new things that are coming out in the Linux kernel, some of the newer things that are coming out as far as the industry and how the industry is moving with the Linux kernel. And then I want to talk about edge computing. Maybe I'll do a show later on tonight on that. I'll come back downstairs and I'll do a technical show on Linux itself. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We might not even be at home. So I don't know.
We're not at home.
Silence. You know what I mean. All right.
And
But
wait
that's
to
all
hit
we
these
had.
streets, huh?
Truth be told, what don't you get? I
Or
know
edge
I'm trying to
computing
get.
stuff.
I'm trying. Edge computing stuff. Oh, yeah,
This
yes.
man's an older pole. You tried it.
The third one, you dance on the pole. There's a chick that already got pole's code. She got it on lock. Pole's
And
code. She
let's
got it on lock.
B Nizzle is coming up. I don't know how much dancing you gonna
You understand the concept, but you're not sure. Well, did you check out the Brian Lyle's interview? Really, the edge device is your phone is an edge device, right? And you do know your phone has and does AI modeling right in the phone, right? If you didn't know that, now you know. But so when we look at these edge devices, it's really about getting the information to you quicker as the person. That's really what that is. That's what that boils down to, right? Instead of having the information come all the way back to the cloud, I can have the information at the edge. Yep. Satellites, all that. Your car, the Tesla, any car you got right now is edge is part of edge computing. Oh, you're running out of gas. Would you like for us to find a location? Oh,
or
your tire pressure is low.
Coffee break.
Yeah. Would you like to know where the next station is? Right. So that's one when we think about edge computing, right? And another way to think about edge computing are trucks, your delivery of your items, Amazon, um, that kind of stuff. So again, that's the concept behind edge computing. We've been doing it forever, right? We've been having phones forever, but now doing AI and machine learning and modeling um, as well too, especially in the medical fields as well too, right? Edge computing is going to be huge in rural areas where you need to diagnose and get stuff out to people quickly. That's going to be huge. And even uh, I think we're gonna, as these storms get bigger, these tornadoes get bigger, EF5 hurricanes, Cat 5 hurricanes and stuff coming in, slamming off the coast. The need to prop up, the need to get people back connected and rebuilding a community is super important. But it's hard when hurricanes are coming off. You come off a EF5, and then right behind it is another hurricane. Yep. We saw what happened with the 5G infrastructure this week, right? We couldn't they couldn't turn on 5G at the airports. They had to stop that. It was starting to causing problems with the tower, right? You don't want to have multiple plane crashes turning on at the airport. So they had to stop that. So they let you, there you go with that right there, right? That's the tornado sound effects. Well, that's not when the tornado, that's the hurricane coming in. After the eye.
That's just gonna come in and do.
Yeah.
Pam is a storm chaser. She not get me on that hype. She
I'm
will
not a
sit there
storm
and
chaser.
watch the storm chasing
I
people.
like looking at storms. I am not a storm chaser. I like looking at
She's
them.
chase the storm if you let her. I'm not. That's not like she won't get on a
No.
motorcycle. I'm not going to chase storms.
Who says I was going to chase a storm? I look at it. I go within 2 miles of it, but I'm not gonna sit up under it like how we showed with that car sitting up there, and it was like I think it's gonna pass, it ain't gonna redirect, and they just kind of edged under it. That's stupid. They ain't doing that. All right, people, it's been real. We appreciate you holding on. D said we was gonna do a binary hustlers today. That's what she said. But I know we gotta eat first. We'll see if how D feeling binary. How binary is she feeling? Is she a 0 or a 1? We don't know.
Ooh. Let me see
Or
how
she might be. Uh,
D let Tam have her show today. I was not. I've been good, and you see how she's still repeatedly frozen.
but if you into quantum computing, you'll be in an entanglement where you'll be a 0 or a 1 at the same time.
Yes, like Twister, keep it happy, just like Twister. Give her a little van and little signal. She'll chase him.
Thank you, B9. Thank you for rocking with me. Yeah, at least I got somebody rocking with me. I think you
You
got
gonna fall
seven
out that chair.
scientists. I
You
think
gonna
you got
fall
seven
out that
scientists.
chair. Fall
You got
out the chair.
you
Fall
got
out that
seven
chair.
scientists rocking with you. At least I got somebody rocking with me. Leave me
Nice
out here
meeting
alone.
you, B nigga.
B9, she was leaving me in the dust while we was on the road. I was trying to focus. She had started getting. I had to squint my eyes. Like, is that her up there? She was gone. I had to tell. I had to call her and tell her and ask her where the fire was at. Have y'all ever seen this? How D was driving. Have y'all ever seen the guys, the husbands that drive the minivan and they be mad at you because you in the sports car, so they won't let you in the lane and nothing like that, or they won't let you pass. The mad minivan driver. That's how D was. She was the minivan driver.
You know, you got to get as many miles in on a half a tank as possible before you got to pull over in 10 degrees again. I'm so glad I'm going back by myself.
I am glad you're going back by yourself too. You got to remember, it is a sports performance vehicle. I can't let it get down low.
Half a tank of gas. A quarter is
D-
low. Half a tank is a half a tank of gas,
But
Tamika.
you don't understand how quickly that half a tank got to half a tank.
I do. Because I have to pull over. Next time we're gonna put you on a plane.
No, they still make minivans. It's a mattress. So
It's a passenger van.
yeah.
It's a passenger van that we can take the seats out. So it is a commercial vehicle that I was driving. That we took some seats out so we can put some of Tam's things in there for her move. So we drove in tandem. So it wasn't like it's definitely not a mom van now. I got some electric, doors on the side, but it does not have the comforts of like the mom van.
Yeah, my mama thought we was gonna pull some cars. I'm like, no. Yeah, truth be told, we started at 8. Are you
Yeah, we
on
started
the
at 8 on Wednesday. I
are
changed it
you
in the meetup.
yeah, are you part of
Yeah.
meetup.com? If you're not on meetup.com, you probably didn't get the notification. Make sure
Yeah,
you
so go
go
to
in and
meetup.com and make sure that you join so that you can get those notifications of any changes.
I've already moved. I had moved in anyway, but I'm in Colorado.
The truth be told, there is a recap on YouTube under the meetup playlist for Wednesday.
And speaking of, do y'all want to hear from some hedge fund managers and some CTOs, like the CTO of New York? Because I got some stuff I need to work out, but that's the plan though. Yep. Um, we're gonna try to fly through that stuff, man. We need people. I know. I'm probably gonna be hiring soon out here. So I guess I go to work this week, and
We drove all the way for Tamika to work from home.
I didn't
She
want
went
to
in the
go in.
office one day last week.
I went in one day. After that, I was just like, I didn't see the purpose to sit in the meetings.
30 hours.
And then I go in this week all week. Potato, right? Yep.
Hey,
That's what we talking about. How you made 400 million. I don't know. Me and engineering cannabis, we got to get with the swimming pool stuff. We haven't had a conversation to sit down and talk about it. We need to sit down and have a conversation to talk about it. It's funny that you mentioned that because that was somebody actually called me, asked me about how to automate pool cleaning. How can they automate the pool cleaning, and how could they invest into something like that? I actually had two people reach out about that they would be willing to invest into something like that. Yep. Yeah, I had two people that ask me, how could you automate the pool cleaning so they didn't have to do it? So and they want to know how what would it take in order to do it. And you have to remember where this is valuable at for all those people that got investment, that do property management. That's where that comes into play. So that way they don't have to hire anybody. They could just be like, okay, well, you could stack it up with the chlorine tab goes in. Only thing that would the problem may be a problem is the filter. So, but I'm not sure about that. Dean, you know more about that. How would you automate the task of cleaning the filter? Maybe
It
have
has
something
to be
spin it.
something where it is either because it's such a big filter, it depends on your pool. It probably has to be like a self-cleaning filter where because what I do is I go in there and I rinse that filter off and I put it in there, and the pool filter is probably good for a year. So it'll probably have to be something like with some solutions and stuff that'll self clean the filter, and then that hose that's on the pool cleaner, that it kind of goes down the hose, and so all that water runs away, and then you have a fresh filter.
Mm.
Now that I'm thinking
Centrifugal
about it,
force is what I'm thinking about. Something that can
yeah,
spin it.
yeah, spin it and clean it, or something that because the way the it's a cylinder that holds it.
And we may have an
So
older model too, filter
well, I
system.
mean, they're pretty much the same, but it depends on if it's salt water or chlorine. But if it set on like a rod or something that had water coming through it, like how you have a hose that waters the lawn and it's all those holes. If it came in the center of that filter, because the filter inside it has holes, and that's the biggest part of cleaning the filter, is making sure that you get in like the folds of it and the water came out. Like a what you call those, one of those drive through uh car washes, that type of thing,
Mm.
where it washes it out from the inside and maybe spins it on the outside. So that'd be cool.
Cool. All right, people. No, nobody came up. We appreciate you spending the day with us today. We're gonna catch you all. I don't know, maybe later on with Binary Hustler. I got some topics for Binary Hustler. And we'll go from there. Until then, we'll see y'all maybe next week or maybe later on tonight. I don't know. We'll see. But
All
be
right,
safe.
thank you.